everyone, I'm Luck, and for round 1, we're on the play, and this 7 is pretty good, so we're gonna keep it. Sarah missions, keep both on top, pass the turn. Opponent plays Wooded Foothills, passes back to us. Alright, in order to fetch, we did shuffle away that Mox Opal, unfortunately. We're just gonna Serum Visions, draw another Mox Opal, bottom both. Inquisition, taking a Farseek. Opponent has very little going on, and nothing that we really care about. Opponent just plays Valakut and passes back to us. Alright, so we draw a Bauble, which is great because that means we can just whir for our Thopter Foundry this turn, and then we can untap and play our Sword of the Meek. We can be super mana efficient. Alright, opponent's just passing, hasn't found anything yet, so we're gonna go ahead and whir for 2. And I think we can race given that our opponent's not doing anything. Sweltering Suns will slow us down a bit. We can just go ahead and take that, so I might do that, or take something better if we see it. Opponent's gonna cycle the Sweltering Suns in response. And we find a Summoner's Pact that we will gladly snap off. Alright, opponent's still on the land go plan. We're gonna start making Thopters. We're also gonna cash in this Bauble here now that we don't need it. Opponent will find a Sweltering Suns next turn. We're gonna get in for 2. And we are gonna Serum Visions, look for that Time Sieve to get the instant win. No Time Sieves yet, bottom both. Shock just for the extra Thopter. Alright, opponent's gonna bolt our Thopter. Shuffled away their Sweltering Suns, so we do not know what they just drew. Opponent plays the Valakut we knew about. Time to make more Thopters. Alright, over to us. And we draw Pentad Prism, so nothing exciting. Don't see any reason to play the Prism, so we'll just pass it back. Opponent plays a Summoner's Pact. Finds prime time. So the opponent does get 4 Valakut triggers, which should keep them alive. But we can make a bunch more Thopters to replace them. Over to us, we find an Ensnaring Bridge, which should just lock up this game. So we're gonna get in for 8, slam Bridge, and at that point, unless our opponent has Escape Shift, then we should just win. Opponent pays for the Pact, plays a Mountain, shooting us in the face, and they scoop it up. Alright, that was getting a little tense there, but we're on to game number 2. So sideboarding for Titan Shift, Speed is the name of the game. Speed and Witchbane Orb, of course. Great against Valakut. So these 6 in, those 6 out. And an opening 7 of every card we want except for a land. The 6 with the 2 Mox Opals, that'll just have to do, unfortunately. Thopter Foundry, Thopter Foundry is interesting. I don't think it's actually what we want in this hand. I'm going to bottom it. The best thing we can find is a Pentad Prism to get our Tezzerator out very quickly. I just don't see the Thopter plan coming off anytime soon. So we find a land. Inquisition. Yikes! A Prismatic Omen and Ancient Grudge. This is gonna be rough. This is certainly gonna be rough. I think it has to be Ancient Grudge. I just don't see us beating it otherwise. We'll play a Mox Opal and pass the turn. Opponent runs out their Omen. We've found more land, but not yet anything else to do with it, so this is looking dicey. So the opponent's passing back to us, so we're just gonna happily fetch. And we hit the 3rd land out of our 3 draws. Not ideal. Well, opponent's gonna play Chandra. Good news is we can kill that with Tezzerator next turn. Exiles a Sweltering Sun, stopping us for 2. And Liliana is the draw. Well, we will run out our Tezzerator, and we will kill Chandra. Chandra down. And there's the opponent's Dryad Arbor, which we can kill with Lily as well. Very important as our opponent gets to 6 and we just lose. Opponent's gonna Ancient Grudge our Opal. Can't do anything about that. Ooh, and we hit a Whir of Invention, which is a solid hit. So we're gonna plus Tezzerator, find a Foundry, not bad. Play out our land and our Mox. I think we have to play Lily to not die to the Escape Shift next turn, so we'll do that. Make them sacrifice their Dryad Arbor. Well, and we'll play out our Thopter Foundry. Well, we finally had a good draw. Could it be enough? We'll see. Not confident. Opponent plays a 5th land, and we draw a Welding Jar. Not bad. So I'm pretty sure our plan here is just going to be to hold up worse so that we can whir for a Witchbane Orb in response to them going for the Escape Shift. So that means we cannot plus Lily unless we find something to discard with Tez. Do we want to do that, or do we want to beat down with Tez is the question? I think I'm okay to do that. Hopefully we find a sword. Ooh, we find the Quicksilver Fountain and Witchbane Orb. So I think I'll just take and cast the orb, given that the Ancient Grudge has been cast. So yeah, we'll run out Witchbane Orb. It is protected by Welding Jar as well. We won't plus Lily because we need this Whir of Invention. And hopefully with this setup, we might actually get there. Alright, opponent finds a Summoner's Pack, gets a Reclamation Sage. So we do have to pop off our Welding Jar. Hopefully they have nothing else this turn. Yeah, it's back to us. Alright, so we have some really good options here. We can try to strip their hand with Lily and Brutality. We could just clear the way for a Tezzerator beatdown using the Collective Brutality as well. I think I'm just going to make them discard to see what to do. Alright, so we find an Obstinate Baloth, Primeval Titan, and Scapeshift. So of course plussing Lily doesn't look so good right about now. Although if we do wear out a Ensnaring Bridge, at that point we can just make them discard whatever else they draw to, so not the worst in the world. We'll take the Scapeshift. We'll plus Tez. Tez does find a Sword of the Meek, which is not bad. Combos online. That means we can work for Time Sieve as well, so we should have the win next turn actually. Yeah, so I'm gonna plus Lily, I'll check out the Sword, we'll work for Time Sieve on the opponent's end step, and that should just mean that we have the Thup to win. Yeah, well we knew that was coming. But because the opponent's paying for Pact, I don't think the opponent can do anything about what we're doing. Opponent plays a land, last card in hand we know is Prime Time, which means that we're just going to win with our Time Sieve. Yeah, right, opponent's going to kill Lily, that does not matter. They're of course trying to protect their Primeval Titan. But we have a Time Sieve and the mana to do whatever we like with it. So we do have to sack our Opal, but that's okay, we've still got 5 mana sources afterwards, combos online, so we just win. Alright, so looking at the combo, we just attack, 4-2. Pentad Prisms speed up our clock a little bit, so we run them out. We make some Thopters. Then we sacrifice some artifacts, so we can sacrifice some Thopters and the Pentad Prism. Take next return, rinse and repeat till the opponent dies. And the opponent scoops it up. So a quick 2-0 to start things off. Let's jump into round number 2. Alrighty, so on the draw for round number 2, and this opening 7 is dicey. In fact, it's so dicey because of the lands that we can't actually keep it. This 6, however, is just fine. Land number 3, I think we do want. Actually, we'll bottom it. We actually have Mox Opal online by turn 2, so I think it's okay. Opponent starts off with a Legion's Landing, so it could be some sort of tokens list. I've not seen this card in Modern before. We do draw a land. Alright, so we're going to shock Ensnaring Missions, Ensnaring Bridge, and Pentad Prism. So I don't think this hand wants a Prism, but we'll keep the bridge for sure. And we may as well run at the little guys. Means if our opponent has any discard, it will be pretty useless. Alright, opponent getting in for those 1-1 beats. And yeah, we're getting Brutality. This will be a clean miss. Just losing 2 life. So that was nice. We're going to run out our Sword of the Meek. Unfortunately, Mox Opal is not online until after we cast it, so we can't get down the bridge. So this is the one turn our opponent has to discard our bridge. The 1-1 beats continue. And the opponent's going to play a Lingering Souls, they pitched off their Brutality. Alrighty, and we draw a Whir, we get to resolve our bridge this turn, things are looking good. As long as we can keep our hand empty, we should be right. Bridge down. We're not going to crack the bauble until our hand is properly empty. Importantly, we do have Thopter Foundry online for next turn off of our Whir, which on its own should be enough to shut down what our opponent's doing, really. Alright, opponent's going to attack with Mutavault, which suits me because they need to do something big this turn if they are going to win. Flipping Legion's Landing is not going to cut it. Alright, just more Flying Spirits, so we should be right. And we draw Collective Brutality. Alrighty, so I think I'll pop that off just so that we can empty our hand entirely off of the Whir of Invention. And I think we just want to take a peek at our opponent's hand just to make sure that nothing too scary is happening. Just a path and an Intangible Virtue, which is actively bad against the bridge. So yeah, it's very unlikely our opponent has a mainboard answer to what we're doing, so we should just win here. There's the Whir, X equals 2. Grabbing our Thopter Foundry, and it's our turn again. Alright, so Mox Opal just means 1 extra Thopter, no big deal. Again, I see no reason to crack the bauble just in case we drew Tez. We don't want to let our opponent attack when we don't have to. Yep, bring on the 1-1s. Yeah, an opponent can't do anything, just passing back to us. Alright, so just drawing a bauble. Let's swing for 6. Opponent takes it. Play out the bauble. Opponent's gonna Ghost Quarter our Academy Ruins. Does not matter. We'll just get an island. And yeah, these 1-1s will never attack or block on the ground. And once again, it's back over to us. And we've now got more life and more tokens than our opponent. Alright, let's bash for 12. Alright, Zealous Persecution's gonna slow us down a little bit, but that's okay. When I misclicked, I meant to cast that Inquisition, but it doesn't matter. We've got 21 life and can make a bunch of blockers. Yeah, opponent's going wide and big, and they've just made it so that they can't attack. I guess this does mean they'll be able to block out tokens for a long time. Hopefully we can find a Tez to close out the game quickly. Alright, so I'll just bash that 2-3 because the other ones will just get eaten. Trading. This time we'll remember to Inquisition. Be able to blossom down. And I think it's time to start cracking our baubles because we just want to find Tez. Alright, opponent's throwing a Thoughtseize. And the turn after a Liliana. Yeah, we did not want any of those, but that's okay. We will play a sword and a foundry to keep everything under bridge. Alright, opponent's not playing Lily. Don't know why. It seems like one of their only answers to bridge, I'd imagine. We draw Sarah Missions. Still no Tez, but we will empty our hand. Opponent's going to draw an intangible virtue and cast it. So yeah, they're never going to attack. We just need to find our Tezzerator. Still not seeing him. Well, we'll take their Lily and pass the turn again. So Time Sieve or Tez just win the game basically. Lingering Souls does nothing. Yep, still not hitting it. We'll also just eventually go wide enough to kill them through all of their tokens. They do have a whopping 11 flying blockers though right now. I suspect the opponent's just trying to run down our clock. Well, there's a Soren. Alright, we found an Inventor's Fair, so we can just take an extra turn right now, which I'll do. Grab our Time Sieve. This is just safe so our opponent can't actually untap and potentially draw a Zealous Persecution to cost us 5 minutes. Alright, there's a Brutality, so I guess we just attack for 27 and then drain them for 2. Just in case there's any doubt, we'll take an extra turn by sacking the guys that are dying anyways. Path is okay. And now opponent's on 2 and finally dead. Whew, on to game 2. So sideboarding like this. These 7 in, these 7 out. We're worried about Stony Silence and Fragmentize mostly. So while Tezzerator's good, he's a bit too slow if we need our bridges to be good. And the rest is pretty straightforward. And we've got a rubbish opening 7, so we'll chuck it out. And that's a good 6. And Tezzerator. We do have Thopter Sword. He will be a turn 3 Tez if we find a land. I'm still gonna bottom him. Alright, a second whir is okay, I suppose. Run out our Bauble and our Mox. If they do have a turn 2 Stony, at least we get a card out of Bauble. And they don't. Alright, second Foundry is not good. Hopefully we find one more land. Although Mox Opal does give us access to Sword for next turn if we want it. Alright, opponent's making 1/1s. Yeah, that's a land. Nice. Alright, so we're just going to pass. We're going to whir for a sword, hopefully snag off a spirit and blocks. We're going to fetch and chuck for a breeding pool so that just in case a Stony comes down, we still have green mana. Whir for 2. We do have the option of just naming Windbrisk Kites here off a Pithing Needle, which I'm very tempted to do. I think I'll just get Sword because I want Thopter Sword and potentially Bridge, so it's just probably safer. The big risk here actually is that if I block or expose to a Surgical Extraction, I think I'm actually just going to not block for that reason. Surgical could cost me the game and it would be a silly way to lose. Well, we could have stopped Sony if we named Windbrisk Kites, but oh well. Land is fine. So yeah, now we're gonna go for a Ensnaring Bridge, hoping that that Windbrisk Kites is not hiding a Fragmentize. Alright, so we're taking 3 Lingering Souls for the opponent, and over to us. So we will take our bridge out. Island, alright, so we're empty-handed at least. So if our opponent doesn't have an answer to the Ensnaring Bridge, we should be safe for a little while. They could just go Fragmentize Intangible Virtue and we just lose, but we'll see. There's the Fragmentize. Alright, opponent swing for 7. And yep, Zealous Persecution. So yeah, the opponent had the perfect cards underneath their Windbrisk Kites. Unfortunate, could have stopped it, but I don't think we could have anticipated it going quite that badly. On the play, and another awful 7. And a bad 6, but I think we have to keep this one. Yeah, and the opponent keeps 7, so not looking good for us. Sword of the Meek on top, which we will have to keep in the hopes that they don't have a Stony or Fragmentize. Alright, so we'll lead off an Inquisition. Alright, and sure enough the opponent has a Stony, which we will definitely be taking here. Otherwise their hand is not super scary. It does have Intangible Virtue into Lingering Souls, but without Stony we can hopefully keep up. Alright, opponent plays land and passes around our sword. We're hoping to draw a blue land ASAP, so that we can at least get the combo online by turn 4. Alright, Intangible Virtue. Not a blue land, but bridge is okay. Opponent found land number 3 for Lingering Souls. Alright, and we have not found the mana that we need for Whir, so I will go ahead and crack this bauble in their upkeep. They can't attack this turn. Opponent flashes back Lingering Souls, and it's over to us. Alright, there's a Whir and the blue mana for it, so we're looking good, looking good. I did take out Time Sieve here because we're against a deck that does care about what we're doing. Almost regretting that right now. Alright, opponent's bashing. We could have stopped them by fetching earlier, which was almost certainly a mistake. We do, however, get to eat up one of the tokens this way. Ooh, opponent found a surgical, so we don't want to lose all of our swords, so we will sack our foundry to itself. We could also sack our bridge if we wanted to take it risky. In fact, I think we will sack our bridge. Yeah, we're going to sack our bridge to keep our combo in play. We can always work for another bridge, so I think this is okay. Alright, opponent's going to take out our Academy ruins, which I'm okay with. Get an island. We'll go to blocks like this. We just want to eat one token, or trade for it. End of turn, we'll get another Thupter. Another foundry, doesn't matter. We'll bash for 2 here. We do have to be aware of our opponent's zealous persecution here, so I don't want to make a bunch of Thupters before blocks, if he hasn't cast it yet. Much rather just chump. Alright, we're definitely making Thupters though, because we need our life gain. And opponent's going to zealous persecution now to kill our Thupters, that's fine. We find another Whir, can't complain. And we don't know about any more zealous persecutions in our opponent's hand. We know about a path, but I am going to go ahead and try to block all their Thupters this time. Well, they found another one. Alright, opponents stopped attacking, so they almost certainly don't have any more zealous persecutions. Thoughtseize is fine, takes a whir. Alright, we're cracking our bauble. Opponent's going to find a second path. We find Mox and a foundry. Foundries are pretty useless, but that's okay. We'll just bash for 2. Opponent takes it. Spectral Procession. More 2/2 flyers. Alright, opponent's tapped out and attacking. I'm very okay with this because it means I'm guaranteed to be able to eat up their spirits. Seems like a bad attack. I think I'm also in a spot now I can start playing around Surgical Extraction number 2, so I'm going to leave up 1 mana. I have my Moxa sacked to get around Surgical. Line up some blocks. Alright, and we hit a Pithing Needle. I don't think I want to needle anything here. We could hit Sorin, Lily, Windbrisk Kite, Ghost Quarter, Shambling Vent. I don't think any of them particularly matter right now. Opponent finds more flying tokens, this time wisely not attacking. We also have a hefty time lead, so I'm pretty comfortable about that too. Ooh, and we found an Abrupt Decay. So this is nice, because it means I can attack with everything. They'll line up blocks and we can just blow them out by killing Intangible Virtue. We could save it for Stony, but this gives us a kill next turn. 6, 7, 8... Actually, I think Soda's not doing it. Yeah, let's not do it. Just in case of Stony plus Zealous Persecution, which seems basically impossible right now. Opponent does still have 2 paths in hand. And they scoop it up, alright! 2-0 in the league. Alright, on the play for round number 3 with Tezzerator. Opening 7 looks good. This hand gives us turn 3 Thupter Sword into potentially turn 4 Tezzerator. Run things out. Opponent plays Birds. Opal is the draw. Gives us the option of playing Tez next turn if we wish. Second Birds. And passing the turn. Okay. Sadly, no Maelstrom Pulse, nothing like that. So I think I'm actually going to cast Tez here, given that there's no pressure whatsoever from the opponent. It does give me a potentially faster clock if I get to the ultimate. And Cage is almost always really good in these matchups, so is Ensnaring Bridge. It's a tough one, actually. They could Coco next turn if they hit a land, if that's what they're doing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Cage. Well, the opponent did find land, and a Nahiri. Okay, so Tez can kill that next turn, or almost can kill it. Opponent discards Quarter Calling, they know about the Cage. So I could drain my opponent for 12 this turn. I definitely feel inclined not to actually use Tez to pressure the Nahiri, simply because I want to ult for lethal next turn. And I feel like if I have a Cage out, as well as holding up a Whir of Invention for potentially a Bridge or a Pithing Needle, I should be fine. Of course, Nahiri can't ultimate next turn. Yeah, and the most I could ultimate for right now is 14 damage. Important not to Whir on my turn, because then Nahiri can exile an artifact, which would be a nightmare. Ooh, Magus of the Moon. Well, I guess all that means is that we Whir now, and I don't tap any important artifacts to Whir. We still have all colors with a Swamp and a Mox Opal out. Which one are we missing? So I've got the Foundry, we want the Sword of the Meek. And our opponent would need something pretty special to not be dead here. Nahiri ditches a company. This is why mainboard Cage is just so good. Alright, let's see if the opponent can answer our Tez ult. Seems unlikely. Alright, drain you for 1 million? Yep, works. On to game number 2. For sideboarding, again, we're scared of things like Stony, Gitaki, other fetch targets like maybe Phyrexian Revoker or Reclamation Sage. So we're going to bring in our anti-Stony package, our protection artifact. Pithing Needle seems good, Liliana seems good. Run it back. Alright, now opening 7 for game number 2 is weird for this deck, but I guess we can keep it. Opponent's going to lead on a Noble Hierarch. So we're just going to hope our opponent doesn't have turn 2 Magus of the Moon, which would just ruin us here. We do really need a black source for 3 Abrupt Decays. Hopefully we can find more basics of this. No, we do need lands. So I think we bottom both. Yeah. Alright, opponent plays Birds and Duskwatch Recruiter for their second turn. And we do hit a land, that's good. I don't think we're holding up Abrupt Decay. I'm pretty sure we're just going to fire off Inquisition. They certainly can't go Devoted Druid combo next turn, because Devoted Druid needs haste for that. Ooh, double Nahiri. Well, that was a whiff. Okay, that's a pretty good set of cards. So we'll keep both. We'll keep Bauble on top, because that means that we can whir out a Needle for Nahiri next turn, at which point our opponent won't have a lot going on. Yeah, there's the Nahiri. Discards a Forest, so still have a Nahiri in hand. Gets in for 3. Alright, do we even want the Foundry that we left on top? I'm not sure. In any case, I think we play the Breeding Pool because we want green for Abrupt Decay next turn, so I think it's okay to keep. So we're going to warn our opponent's upkeep here. It's a Needle and a Nahiri. That does shuffle away our Foundry anyway. So opponent's on the Duskwatch Recruiter plan, and they find a Kataki. Of course they do. Doesn't really matter though, we can kill it, but it's still annoying. We'll crack our Bauble rather than pay for it, and we will pay for our Needle. Okay, so Tezzerator's the draw. Alright, so opponent's gonna shuffle away a Rest in Peace, which is okay with us. Kessig Wolfrun, yikes. We're not killing Kataki right now because we're dead if we don't kill the Duskwatch. Good news is our opponent doesn't do anything this turn. Bad news is we still have to actually deal with what's going on here. I think we're still paying for the Needle. We hit a Foundry. This is awkward. Yeah, I think we're just passing the turn. I think we just need to keep holding up Abrupt Decay, sadly, because this Kessig Wolfrun will otherwise just get us. Hopefully the opponent just goes for an attack with Kataki and pumps it this turn so we can kill that. They don't. They're going to pump their Birds to a 3-power creature, which means I think we're going to shoot off the Kataki and take 3. Down to 3. Hopefully we can find a Needle and then we'll be okay. We do not. The good news is that we can play 2 things. I think we're just going to play a Foundry and pass. Holding up Decay again. There's a Noble Hierarch. Abrupt Decay number 3 works. We're still alive, but every attack our opponent makes now is a lethal attack. There's another Birds. Padim's not bad. If we could resolve it. So unfortunately, we very easily could die here. I think I have to sack Foundry to itself and make my Thopter a 5/5, which means we're dead to a removal spell. Our opponent probably doesn't have creature removal though post sideboard, which we're just going to have to rely on, because if they do, we're just going to lose. Well, the opponent's attacking. They can use Kessig Wolfrun to put us to 1, I believe. Yeah, and they do. Darkslick Shores, yikes. So, only that we're a Maelstrom Pulse. I think our only way of surviving is to find a Pithing Needle of Tez, and we don't. It's over. Found a Foundry. Alright, well that was a weird one, but we are going to have to go to game number 3, unfortunately. I'm not going to make any changes. Feeling a lot better about game 3s than 2s in general though, because Mana Dorks are so much worse in the draw. We can also kill them with our 2-mana removal spells at that point. Alright, on the play for game number 3. An unfortunate hand. Not enough land. And this time the lands don't work. Well, we'll keep this 5. Serum Visions, which we can cast on turn 1, is something at least. I think we want more lands before the Needle, although Needle is excellent. I think we're bottoming it. Alrighty, so turn 1 Serum Visions. Not finding land. So we need to hold on to Bauble to make our Spire of Industry coloured. I think we may as well keep the Bauble here. That just means that we can crack the existing Bauble and just get a bit of free information, so may as well. Opponent's drawing a Hierarch. Plays Hierarch. And we missed the land, which is unfortunate because we do have the removal for the Hierarch. Alright, well, we'll take Kataki. Here come the Druids. Yep, and we're gonna keep Inquisitioning because we have nothing else. We'll take the Ronos. Yikes. Still no lands. Not good. Opponent's finding more Dorks. We hit a land. That is something. It's a lot, actually. Opponents emptied their hand. So, well, we would not pulse 3 Druids, I don't think. We would definitely pulse these Hierarchs, I believe. Ooh, we didn't need to shock there. Darkslick Shores Inventor's fair. Shores is good. Fair will not be on yet, so we'll only keep the Darkslick. Yikes, opponent finds Chord of Calling, which is exceptionally good for them. Alright, I feel like a lot of things could kill us. Magus of the Moon's among them. Yeah, and there's the Magus. So unless we can find a basics swamp. One basic swamp is our only black source left in the deck. And we have no green sources under the Blood Moon. Ah well, opponent drew it at the right time. We milled to 5. That was not the most exciting game 3. Yeah, we'll skip it up. We have all the removal, we can't cast it. Alright, so 2-1. Alright. We'll go into round number 4. Alright, welcome to round number 4, where our opening 7 is very solid. Definite keep. I'm not going to blind Needle, so we'll just pass the turn. Opponent plays an Aether Vial, which we could Pithing Needle, and I think we will Pithing Needle. Yeah, so this turn we're going to play our Prism and our Needle. I suspect we're against blue-green Merfolk. Yep, my suspicions are confirmed. This can only really be good news for us because Merfolk cannot really beat Ensnaring Bridge. I think I'm going to chuck down Tezzerator here. I doubt it'll actually do much. We could make a 5-5 and start beating in. Yeah, let's do that. I'm not going to bother trying to protect him. Yeah, opponent's going to kill Tez. Nothing scary coming out of them yet. We're just going to keep bashing for 5. Yeah. Alright, so looking at our opponent's hand, we're pretty safe. I'll take the Harbinger to protect my Prism. And then I'm going to 2 modes Brutality on kill a creature and drain you for 2. Kill the green guy, drain for 2, discard Ensnaring Bridge. So our opponent should be forced to chump block our Prism for a while, and Bridge is a backup plan that I think they can't beat anyway. We take 2. Opponent has to chump Prism, and does. Opponent does find a land, gets out a couple Merfolk. We're on 17. Opponent chumps Prism again. And we're going to equip our Prism with a sword because why not? Alright, so I think it's about time that we play down Ensnaring Bridge. We're not going to get through with just the Prism. Now that our opponent's found some lands, no need to take any risks. May as well eat a Merfolk first. Yep, and we do. And that's the last attack that our Prism will do this game. And yeah, opponent scoops it up. They didn't actually have an answer to Bridge. Alrighty, so looking at the typical lists of blue-green Merfolk online, as well as not running Artifact Hate, the lists don't run Collected Company, so you can take out the cage and it'll bring in some extra removal. Alright, this is an opening 7 that I would call unkeepable just because Sword is so weak on its own. If these were Foundries, I would keep, because the Baubles cycle, it's a close one, but there's just a very decent risk of not doing anything. Yeah, this 6, a little better? Not much. Lands are a little dicey with this hand, but I still think we probably have to bottom the Darkslick Shores. Our opponent kept Aether Vials even after the opening last game of our Needle. And with another Glimmer Void at the top, we really need to find a 2-mana artifact here. And we do. Foundry into Whir is very good, so I'll keep them. And suddenly this draw looks excellent. So if we weren't required to play Foundry next turn, I wouldn't mind decaying the Aether Vial, but we are. Branchwalker finds a Lord. It's a Glimmer Void into Foundry, and we'll pass the turn. So opponent's playing more Artifact Hate than most Merfolk players on blue-green, which is typically just about nothing, so we will lose our Glimmer Void, and in fact, we might just lose the game, because we have a Whir coming that we won't be able to cast after we lose this Glimmer Void. So we took a sideboarding risk based on what we saw online, and it's not paying off. So the opponent's going to Violent a Redraw and hit us really hard. I don't think we can get our way out of this. We do draw a Bauble. But yeah, even though we can Abrupt Decay or Maelstrom Pulse here, we're just going to die anyway. So it looks like we're going to game number 3. Alright, so a couple of changes for game number 3, taking in Padeem and Welding Jar, taking out a couple Tezzerats, also taking out a couple Mox Opals for collective brutalities. Let's run it back. Opening 7 looks solid, let's keep it. Bridge with a quick Whir and a quick Lily is never terrible. The opponent also taking a Multi 5 can't help their case. Tap land go. Opponent plays a Relic. We're going to cast a Prism and pass the turn. Opponent has a Lord, and we have a choice as to how we want to kill it. I think we'll just play a Lily. Lord down, another Lord. Alright, so drawing Foundry, our plan is just going to be to run out a Ensnaring Bridge to plus Lily. We're going to discard our Maelstrom Pulse, and we'll simply Whir for a Sword of the Meek on the opponent's turn. The opponent's just going to pop the Relic, which is pretty good news for us. And beginning of combat, we will Whir for 2 so that our Lily survives. Get our Sword, play our Foundry, plus Lily. Opponent discards Mutavault, And they do have a natural state, which will work. If they have another Island Walk Lord, they can kill Lily. Looks like they do not. Yep, they realize not to attack. We'll make Thopters. More lands. We'll have them sacrifice a Lord. And they scoop it up. Alright, on to 3-1. 2-1 over Blue-Green Merfolk. A pretty easy matchup. And let's go into round number 5. See if we can get that 4-1. Round number 5 of the competitive league with Tezzerator on the play. Opening 7 is not ideal, but it is a keep with double sword, no foundry. Hopefully Serum Visions can find us a Whir or a Foundry, especially a Foundry. So Serum Visions finds us a land, Brutality, Bauble. Is there any reason I would want Bauble? I don't see one. Yeah, so I'll bottom both. Opponent plays a Serum Visions. Oh, and we draw a Serum Visions. I think I'm just gonna sword to use my mana. Yeah. Alright, so the opponent is just passing back to us. They'll likely have a counter up, so we'll Serum Visions. Opal, Foundry. Foundry is excellent, so I'll keep the Foundry. Opponent looks to be on Storm though, which is a very, very rough matchup. There's an Electromancer. Alright, well, we're gonna try the Brutality. It's almost certainly gonna get countered. And as a result of that, we're probably just going to lose game number 1. Yeah, there's the remand. We can resolve it the second time though. I don't think it's worth discarding anything over. I feel like if we just let Electromancer live though, we're probably just gonna die. So I'll kill it. Maybe should have held that second sword earlier. Inquisition is a good draw, so we'll cast it. We see Ritual, Manamorphose. Suppose we'll take Manamorphose? We may as well play out our combo. Well, here comes the gifts. Yeah, Past in Flames, Ritual, Manamorphose. I guess we'll let them keep a handful of rituals. They of course can Past in Flames. Opponent opts. We get to make our first couple of Thopters. Oh, well, let's get in. Don't want to play Prism just in case our opponent drew a counterspell. He drew a Gifts instead though, which is going to be a challenge to beat. Yeah, well, I guess we'll stick on that same plan of give them nothing but rituals at this point. We're 1 mana short of being able to Inventor's Fair for a Grafdigger's Cage and then actually play it as well. And yeah, with an Electromancer, I'm pretty sure we're just dead. Yeah, unfortunate in the end not to have the mana for the Grafdigger's Cage, but we were most likely dead without that second gifts. Either way, I'm going to scoop it up. Alrighty, so sideboarding, we're bringing in some serious disruption, and we're taking out some of the slower cards in our deck and a few baubles just to trim them. We want to be fast, we want to combo off, but we can also disrupt our opponent in the meantime. Alright, I've got an opening 7 that is not amazing. I think it's just to keep though. Opponent's on 5 cards, so that might make this hand good enough. Ooh, let's not skip our turn. Look at our top card. See a Darkslick Shores, which we want to draw to get triple blue, so we'll keep it. Opponent passes to us. Ooh, we draw our Canonist, which we don't really like doing because we are not very good at casting it. We need a Prism or an Opal, which we did keep in order to cast it. Canonist is, of course, the best actual hate card in our deck, though. Electromancer for the opponent. Right, and we have a Delta. Not in a good spot. Alright, so the opponent probably has a Gifts here. So we are very close to actually just losing. Yeah, our best bet is probably just to Whir for Cage. No Gifts. Okay. So the spot's very awkward. Normally I'd want to Whir for a sword to start applying some pressure. In this spot though, I don't really want to because I want to be able to have access to my hate cards and my clock is so slow with the Whir. If I find a sword, I would absolutely Whir for a Time Sieve though. Witchbane Orb. I'm not even sure if we can cast that. Well, our opponent didn't have gifts last turn, so they're unlikely to have it this turn, so I feel like we're probably fine. Famous last words. Alright, well that's something that we can at least cast. Can we afford to go shields down again though, is the question. I think I'm just going to keep passing. Well, we're taking another 3. Alright, I think it's time to Whir for sword here. We can Inventor's Fair for Time Sieve. I expect this will get countered, so it probably just won't matter, but we'll see. Yep. Alright, Inquisition's not bad, so we'll cast it. It resolves. Alright, so we see a bunch of Manamorphoses, a Ritual, and an Electromancer. The Electromancer doesn't do a lot on its own. Yeah, I think I'll take a Manamorphose. Now that our opponent's out of counters, we're back on the try to win with the Time Sieve next turn plan. Let's see if we can catch these creatures too. We're going to cast Whir for 2. We'll get our Sword of the Meek, and we'll make some guys before blocks. Alrighty, so we're gonna eat the Electromancer, we'll let the Brawl get through. Opponent's gonna try to go off, and opponent scoops it up. Alrighty, that was a bit of a sluggish draw, but we do get a game 3 out of it. A chance to get the 4-1. Let's go for it. Alrighty, so for game number 3, we have an interesting 7. Double Chalice, Inquisition, Witchbane Orb. Not amazing, but I'm gonna try it. Draw Time Sieve, the worst combo card. Inquisition sees Blood Moon and Double Opt Ritual. This hand's actually pretty good against Blood Moon, so I'm tempted to take one of the other cards actually. The problem with that is that our opponent can actually just Blood Moon next turn if we leave them with the Ritual. Yeah, I think we better take Blood Moon. Opponent plays Opt. Opponent's passing. So he will get to cast his second Opt in response to my Chalice on 1. Nonetheless, I am still absolutely going to cast it. There goes the Opt. And opponent drew another Blood Moon, unfortunately for us. And we did not fetch a basic yet. So yeah, we're gonna pass the turn. If we can stick Chalice on 2 though, we should still be in good shape. May as well go for it. And it resolves. Well, we've got a lot of luck pieces in play. There's a basic. Opponent plays an Electromancer into our Chalice. So far, none of our hand could be cast even when we have the mana, including the prisms actually, unfortunately. Yeah. So it's really just a Mox Opal or a Swamp that we want. There's a Whir that's never going to be cast, and another one. Well, discard Brutality. Okay, there's an Abrupt Decay, which will eventually be good. Well, we're up to turn 20 now, and nothing's changed. Still no Moxes in the top half of our deck, sadly. Remarkably, at turn 28, we have still not hit one of our 3 Moxes or our Swamp. Well, the opponent's casting into our Chalices, which means I assume they found an Empty the Warrens. Unfortunately, in the last 20 or so draws, we have not found one of our hits. Yeah, there are the Goblins. Yeah, and it looks like we're gonna lose. Oh, well. So, I think we were very likely to win there, so we had 4 black sources that were castable, between 3 opals and a swamp. And the opponent surely did not have 4 Empty the Warrens, so they just got quite lucky. But it happens. 3-2 is okay. Alrighty, so I just wanted to see how deep the mana sources I had left were. We've got the 9th, 8th, and 7th bottom cards all being hits, as well as the 6th. So they definitely were there. Unfortunately, just not to be drawn this day. And that's going to wrap us up for today. If you enjoyed the series, please let me know, give me feedback. Also, I would love feedback on the decklist itself. I'm currently preparing for an RPTQ with it, so whatever you've got to say, I'd love to hear it. Anyway, that's all from me for now. I will be putting out more videos, so please feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you soon.